Okay, MLB trade deadline day has come and gone. I feel pretty secure now that there aren't going to be any more trades trickling in. Sometimes there's ones that trickle in after the deadline, and there was today. But I think we're pretty well set now. So the Twins, the big one, probably arguably the biggest trade of the entire day is Jose Barrios was traded. He was traded to the Blue Jays, who were one of the many teams that was talked about as being a potential landing spot. Um, we got two prospects. We got two of like the top four prospects in the Blue Jay system, and you can always take prospect rankings with a grain of salt. But we got Austin Martin, who's a shortstop slash outfielder. Sounds like he's more likely to play shortstop, and he was like the fifth pick in the draft last year. And I think it's Simon Woods Richardson, something like that, um, who's a pitcher, and I believe he's down in Double A right now. Um, so you know you can get two really highly ranked prospects, including a pitcher. You know, every account I'm reading is like it's a very good trade for the Twins. I mean, again, you can prospects are prospects. You don't know what they're going to actually end up being, but you know, probably a very good trade under the circumstances. Obviously, the circumstances should be you fucking have a whatever you want to rank Barrios as. You got a very good pitcher. You pay him, but that's just not going to happen. And he basically said that he's you know not gonna he wasn't gonna resign here um, after next season. So you know this was definitely a doesn't have to be the time to trade him, but it was either now or this off season because that's when you're going to maximize your return, and it appears that they got a pretty good return on it. Um, and they made two other moves. They didn't trade Michael Pineda, which was shocking to me because I was like, I figured he was probably the easiest guy to get rid of. They didn't trade Simmons. Um, they didn't trade Buxton. They didn't trade Maeda, who apparently there was interest in, and maybe there was some interest in trading him, but they didn't trade him. They didn't trade Kepler. They didn't trade Donaldson. No, somehow the shocker of the day is they found somebody to take J Happ. They traded him to the Cardinals for a couple pitchers. I don't know how. I didn't think there was any chance in hell that J Happ was going to get anything in a trade, especially after the other day where he gives up fucking 9 runs in 3 innings. Guess his ERA is like 6.7 or some shit. I don't know. Baffling. I don't know what the thought is there. Now they are. I believe I saw that the Twins are paying the rest of his salary for the year. Maybe that helped, but I mean, would you even want J Happ for free? I'd like enjoy him, Cardinals. Of course, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Happ becomes competent again as soon as he leaves the Twins. That's a whole other topic. That's how I don't think that we're very good at coaching pitchers and doing all that. But yeah, so they traded him, and the one they snuck in there before the deadline, Hansel Robles, got traded to Boston for another minor league pitcher, like I think he's like an A-ball pitcher. And Robles last outing with the Twins was giving up a fucking ninth inning game tying grand slam the other night. So somehow those two guys are the two guys who we found takers for. Um, but yeah, no other. There's some like former Twin stuff in there. Eddie Rosario got traded. Kyle Gibson got traded, but they're former Twins. So yeah, that's all the Twins did. They and obviously the Cruz deal last week. So I'm very surprised they didn't trade Pineda. The only thought process there is like maybe they're gonna just hold on to him, and they think that helps. Maybe they can re-sign him for next year. I mean, you got to have somebody. You're not gonna have 5 kids out there as your starting pitchers, and obviously now Maeda is still here, so you're not gonna, I suppose if you tried to go into next year with like Maeda and then bring back Pineda and then have three like young guys, I mean, I don't think you're gonna compete with that, but you know, I'm not opposed to having Pineda on the team. It's just it seemed pretty obvious that like he's a pretty decent pitcher, and teams always want pitching the deadline, so trade him. Um, but they didn't do that. But you know, so I don't know. I don't know if this means they didn't make nearly as many moves as anticipated. So I don't know if that means that it was just a matter of they didn't get offers. Although frankly, with some guys like Simmons or Pineda even, you kind of just take what you can get. Like, who cares? The season is a disaster. It's over in 2 months. Um, just take what you can get. So I don't know what that means for their future, if they're planning to kind of go at it again next year or what. You know, obviously, like the Barrios thing, it's like eventually this organization is going to have to be willing to pay somebody, and they've really never been. I mean, I think they've snuck into maybe the top 10 in the league in payroll a couple times, but most of the time they're bottom half of the league in payroll, and obviously that payroll is going to be down because Barrios was getting decent money already. Cruz obviously was getting money. Happ, even Robles got a couple million, I think, but you know, they're gonna have to be willing to actually pay for players someday, if they really want to be one of those teams that can compete for a World Series. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's disappointing to trade Barrios because it was so expected. But me personally, I think the last fucking straw with Barrios with this organization was when he got yanked from that playoff game last year. He's pitching the game of his life. He's pitched 5 innings, and Baldelli goes out there and he yanks him to put in. I don't even remember which reliever, but so he goes to Toronto. Toronto's a few games out of the playoff spot right now. Maybe they'll get in there. I hope he gets a chance to actually pitch in a playoff game. He deserved. I'm not gonna say that the organization fit. I think this organization did fail Nelson Cruz. I'm not sure they failed Jose Barrios, but I can see why he was just like, what, screw this. I'm gonna become a free agent. I'm not gonna take your little lowball offers just because you're the team that drafted me. I get it from his perspective, because why should I want to stay with an organization that frankly just isn't really that committed to winning? They're committed to contending, I think. They would prefer to contend, but they don't really care about winning a World Series. And I think people like Barrios, they figured that out eventually, and so I hope he does well in Toronto, and of course they've got him for next year too, so they got a couple cracks at it with him, but I guess they got a good trade, but at least they were able to dump off Happ and Robles, but ended up being kind of a curiously quiet trade deadline day. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what that if it's just a matter of can't get the deals, or just no one's interested. I can't imagine nobody was interested in Pineda at all, where you couldn't even get like some like low minor leaguer. But I guess we'll see. Maybe they're gonna keep Pineda around. I hope they don't keep playing Simmons every day. I mean, there's nothing to be gained from that. But so yeah, that's about it. Trade deadline is passed. That's probably about the last interesting thing with the Twins for this year, unless Obviously, they're hoping Buxton comes back and plays. That could affect what they do with him in the off season. Because if if he's able to come back and has a great finish to the season, maybe they'll trade him in the off season. But you know, Twins are going to have this ownership. I mean, they're going to have eventually they're going to have to be willing to pay somebody, and they're going to have to be willing to really invest in trying to win, a championship, because they've now broken off a couple pieces of the core that this was the core that was supposed to do it. The Barrios. Barrios is gone. Obviously, Rosario was gone last year. Um, the Sano, Buxton, Kepler, that whole core that was supposed to do it. Well, they're not going to be the ones that did it. And it's frustrating. You see these deadlines and you see these other teams, and not necessarily teams that are any bigger markets than we are, and they'll go for it. Teams will go for it, and we never do. Like, it's very, very irritating and very frustrating that we'll be the team that trades off players at the deadline when things go bad, but we're never the team that really goes all in when we have a chance to win big. And so that's why other teams get our Nelson Cruz and our Jose Barrios, but we never get that level of player when we need one at the deadline. So, oh well. Hey, the fucking Vikings training camp's going. Let's go.